that last minute goal only proved that Chelsea wanted that game more than them because
Yeah.
they were already trying to see out the game for a draw.
Yeah, and the same thing happened to them against Crystal Palace as well. Last minute goal. It's always tempting to focus on Liverpool because they're the reigning champion. They didn't do well and stuff. But I mean, when you have to look at Chelsea as well, I mean, the Chelsea. I know I've been talking about Chelsea in the negative way because of the way that squad was prepared going into the season. I didn't believe that the
Watch Stretch TV right now.
of the weekend that has had the biggest impact as well on the table, especially at the top end of the table. Chelsea at Stamford Bridge hosted Liverpool. There was so much on this game, considering the fact that Arsenal had won their game earlier in the day, and yeah, Liverpool is not really been going rosy for them lately. Chelsea as well. You didn't really know how you're going to call that game, but boy, the way the game panned out, not just the scoreline, but the game itself was kind of a surprise to a lot of people. And Chelsea ran away with this one, 2-1 against Liverpool. Caicedo getting a very, what I call Caicedo bomb. That goal, I think this is about the second or third time now he's going to score that goal for Chelsea. Liverpool at the moment look tired. They look to have a lot to adapt to. And Aslo seemed to have lost his mojo because, I mean, losing 3 straight games in all competitions for a team that were champions last season, I don't think is in any way something to just overlook. And Chelsea, on the other hand, in the last 2 seasons as well, say what you want to say about Chelsea, but it seems that when it comes to these big games, they tend to find a way to step up and get the result, regardless of the injuries that they had to key players in that team. They still found it within inside of them to give Liverpool a run for their money, dominate the game, especially in the midfield, got their goals and took all 3 points. So, Jude, let me ask you, Liverpool, are they tired? What do you put this blip? For now, let's call it a blip. We don't know how long it's going to go. To what could be the reason why Liverpool are struggling this season?
Yeah, you cannot say it's one particular thing that has caused this dip in form for Liverpool. First of all, I will go through from last season. They played at quite a high level. They were able to control games, determine games. Even when they look tired, they were able to manage games and pick up, get some
Results.
late goals, you know. But now we can see they are the ones conceding late goals. So all of that, that's one. Secondly, I wouldn't know how it has felt, losing Diogo Jota and the mentality of the squad, how that has affected the entire team and all of that. So, but I wouldn't know. I'm not in their heads. They have psychologists and every other person there to have make them come out of that mood. Anybody can die anytime. Life just goes on. So, and
Yeah.
then in the transfer window, they lost quite some key players this season. They lost the guy in Bayern Munich,
Yeah.
Diaz, which to me is a very, very key player. They lost strength to Madrid, so, and you can see what the loss of those 2 key players, it really shows in what they are doing that, there's something is missing. You don't get those long
This kind
passes,
of quality
as
easily.
Trent used
Yeah.
to whip them in.
Yeah.
And then, you don't see the run, those mazy runs of Luis Diaz, so
Stubbornly annoying.
very, yeah. It's always in your face and very never gets tired. And, that's a street footballer. He plays like someone on the street. And
Yeah.
that's one thing I like about him. Yeah. So those are for me the the key issues, bordering on the squad, and their defense looks a bit fragile as well this time around. I saw how Chelsea got that winner. They pushed up and then they tried to play a highland, which I don't even feel they are very comfortable with, and that last minute goal only proved that Chelsea wanted that game more than them because
Yeah.
they were already trying to see out the game for a draw.
Yeah, and the same thing happened to them against Crystal Palace as well. Last minute goal. It's always tempting to focus on Liverpool because they're the reigning champion. They didn't do well and stuff. But I mean, when you have to look at Chelsea as well, I mean, the Chelsea. I know I've been talking about Chelsea in the negative way because of the way that squad was prepared going into the season. I didn't believe that the squad was prepared very well for Maresca, regardless of talking about the player that they sold and what they brought in. So I just felt that the quality is not really there to go all out. But the kind of football, the kind of game they gave to Liverpool yesterday is something that you have to talk about in terms of quality, in terms of the way they apply themselves. And the intent from the first minute of that game to the last minute, Chelsea showed intention that they want it all. And obviously, if you look at the table, if Chelsea had lost to Liverpool yesterday, obviously that would have just been bye-bye to the title. I know it's still early, but it would have been very difficult for them to come back into it. Probably they'd just be looking at top 4. So talk about Chelsea, Maresca, and those players, especially Moises Caicedo. I know it's easy to talk about him, but that guy brings some unique attributes into that Chelsea squad.
Chelsea impressed me. What impressed me was the level of organization, especially in the second half, the intensity with which they played, and the sense of purpose and team spirit that they had. I thought Reece James is exceptionally gifted. That guy can spin the ball to anybody he wants on the field with the right weight of pressure on the ball to create the right opportunity. I thought he was amazing. I thought Caicedo was incredible. Of course, and then Estevao came in and showed why they regard him as one of the brightest talents currently in South America. He almost everything he did paid off, and then he scored the winning goal. Chelsea were impressive, to be honest. Yes, there's like you said, there's a tendency to always say Liverpool didn't do this or didn't do that and all that. They are struggling for form, but you've got to give some people credit when they do something right. The Maresca made good choices in the game, brought in good players that changed the game and helped Chelsea, added some impetus. Cucurella was worthy of mention with the way he played as a leader. Chelsea are a good side. Yes, we've people tend to mock and make jokes with them within the World Championship during the preseason and all that, but they won and they played against very credible sides to win that, and their form against Liverpool in the score have showed why they are very credible this season. Perhaps not to win the league, but they are contenders. They are a strong side. And so I would never underrate this Chelsea side.
Yeah, another thing I want to touch before we move on. You mentioned something there about Trent Arnold, but there's something I also observed about Chelsea, Liverpool. They kind of have become a little bit arrogant because it mentioned about the defense being frail. One of the reasons is because I feel most of the time Liverpool don't really respect the role of a defensive midfielder. They don't really have somebody that sits in front of that defense and protect that defense. Gravenberch that can do it. Most of the time you see him wonder. The other time he got a goal. He moves all over the pitch, and there's really nobody shooting and protecting that defense. Van Dijk is a good defense, one of the best we have seen, but he always likes stuff in front of him. Once you have a team or you allow teams to run at that defense, there's always going to be an issue. And obviously the two guys they brought from the left and right have not really done justice to their coming to Liverpool so far. Maybe they are still adapting. Konate, I don't know if his head is gone. Real Madrid doing what they normally do. Once you are 1 year to end of the contract, they start to put pressure on you. He has not really done. He's not a player that I've rated very well, but so far this season he's even gotten worse. So I don't know. I think Anna Slot needs to we have seen exceptional coaches have issues with their teams, and what they always say is to go back to the basics and start to rebuild again. But it looks like Arne Slot doesn't want to do that. I don't know, how you guys see that. What does Liverpool need to do to get back to that place where, like Okumu always say, that fear factor comes back into the opponents and they start to win games again?
Yeah, I think and Slot has to now properly begin to coach because for me, what he did last season
was
was
man
just like
management. Was man
yes,
management.
he just managed the squad that what's his name, Klopp,
Club.
left. Probably if Klopp had stayed until he would have still won the Premiership. So because everything is
Was there.
Klopp has cooked everything and kept for him, and he just came and walked in, and he didn't do anything to disrupt the flow.
Yeah.
The flow got disrupted in this season when people now left, and he now brought in
His own
a
players.
couple of other guys. So he now really now begin. This is the time for him to now really begin, to formulate the squad that he wants. Setting them up for what he wants to play, or bringing in his own image to the squad. And I think that is what's happening. That is why there is this mismatch that you're seeing. Not that the squad is not entirely bad. It's just a little blip here and there. They're still second on the table, and they still have everything to play for. It's still early days, as you can say, and we're all saying here that Arsenal has an opportunity, and that opportunity is just to be consistent, win as many games as possible, and keep focused. That's all.
Yeah, for me, I always take the league, the season by 10 games. Every 10 games, block of 10 games, I set a target for your team. If any team can win 7 out of every block of 10 games, then you are in contention. Anything less than that, you're always going to play a catch up, because there's always going to be a team that will win 7 out of those 10. So if you can consistently win 6-7 games in every block of 10, obviously you're going to have some run of form, because in between that time, your contenders are going to be losing games or something like that.